I know we got a little time, maybe 5-10 minutes. We can, we already got hands raised for questions. Got one in the back.
I'm stuck on the word adult harassment policy. What does the adult add to the harassment policy?
Yeah, thank you. So I didn't create it. So I tell you what I know. It was a policy team, a part of our D&I task force. They actually had to define adult because of legalities around the world. And so when you get into youth and children harassment policy, legally we have to do something different with certain laws and things. So that's why they had to define it as adult. And it was really loosely defined, but that word was able to be translated in several different languages and mean the same thing culturally around the world. But when we started to put age on it, we got into some sticky things. And then if we kept it as harassment policy and we wouldn't address youth, certain countries, because of protection and laws, we had a lot of legal risks. So that's why they actually coined the term adult harassment policy. Great question. Yeah. Are you a lawyer? Some people don't catch on to that so quickly. No, great question. With this thing around young people and older people and how we attract young people, when we attract young people, we still keep young people in their own tables. I see that in Rotary. Or we align the young people to do social media, all this other. The biggest beauty of Rotary is the intergenerational conversations. Have young people at your table. Have young people get exposed. Bring your kids, your grandkids, or your nieces and nephews to Rotary. This is what Rotary is, a community engagement. So I appreciate you because that is not norm for a father or a family to bring their kids. And look, you let her, it's great. So I applaud you in the effort, and I applaud you all for saying, like, why did you bring your kid? I love it. All right, let's go ahead.
Yes, my name is Sophie. I'm a Rotarian from the Rotary Club of Kampala North in Uganda.
Oh, wow, you came all the way from there just to see me? Sophie.
Oh, yes.
You shouldn't have.
So, mine is about involving children in Rotary. I have 2 children myself. They are here, but not in here. They are out somewhere playing. Reasons why I found Rotary a bit different in Canada. I just moved to Canada about 3 years ago. Because back home, my kids were involved in Rotary ever since they were babies. So they know all about Rotary, they can recite the grace, they can say everything about Rotary. And when we came, I think I've participated in some of the projects in Canada. And the first question is, can I bring my children along? And I've always gotten a response of, they are below 16, they cannot participate in the projects. That's one. And then my kids asked, because we were very active in Rotary back home, is there actually Rotary in Canada? So this morning, I put them in the car. I didn't register them for the conference. I didn't think children were allowed anyways. But they asked me, is there Rotary in Canada? So today I drove them here to show them the number of Rotarians, just for them to confirm that there is actually Rotary in Canada.
Interesting.
So they greeted a few Rotarians, and that was their question. So I don't know, how are we going to encourage the young generation, let's say in this country, to get involved, to know about Rotary? Because I know my children, when they grow up, because they already know Rotary, probably they will join. But how about the other children who have not even heard about Rotary, or who just know that my grandfather is a Rotarian, but they don't actually know or have never participated in any Rotary activities?
No, that's a great comment. Thank you for, I would say the thing that first of all, I think the answers and questions are in the room. So that's the other thing I always like to encourage when you go back to your clubs. Create these spaces. You don't have to have a speaker every week. Have an open dialogue, okay? And talk, because these questions, people are curious about this in the room. So, and I think you can answer those in the room. But I would say, so we actually have early act programs. A lot of people don't know about it as much, but Early Act is for certain youth that's under a certain age. Then we got Interact. But this is what you do to change the game. You all, like how you brought your children, now you know better. So the next DG, oh, they're not here, so record this and share this. The next conference, have a Rotary children area. You know, maybe it's the children activities for people, you know, to teach them about the 4-way test. I mean, how great would that be where you can literally, because some people are single parents. Some people don't have a nanny or someone to watch their kids, so they don't come to the conference. Or it's too expensive. They're not going to travel because they got their kids. So if you be more inclusive and open up areas and make children a part of your programming, you probably can actually retain a lot more people than you think. So I think you should continue the conversation as Canadian clubs of what events are we including children in that's making it children friendly. Now, I know I'm biased now because I'm a father, but I remember when I didn't have any kids and how I felt about kids. I was like, okay, you got your kiddos here. So you gotta also think about that flip too. Yeah. Some people like, I'm coming here to get away from my kids. Now I know that, you know? So I say have the conversations. It's no one way or right way, but I say please have the conversation with your club because you can have those perspectives. But thank you both for bringing that up. Due to time, we're gonna go here and here and here, and then we'll be done. Yeah, right, because time, we're over. Are we okay? Oh, okay, go ahead.
Good morning, Dr. Bowtie.
We're good, we got more time.
I'd be curious in your opinion if the words woke or wokeness has a place in Rotary.
Oh, well, it depends on how you define it. How do you define it? Because I know some people still sleeping.
I'd like to hear your opinion.
You'd like to hear my opinion? Well, I think those are social terms, right? I don't, you know, and where it was coined and how it was defined. But when you think about, you know, the social dynamic of wokeness, it was specific for a specific community and specific action called on government. And then it became a social phenomenon of basically being engaged or basically asking the tough questions around race, you know, and that's where it came up. But if you take that connotation around conversation about race, that's where wokeness came from, specifically for Black people. If you take that connotation and say, does that have a place in Rotary? That question, I say yes. I don't think we as Rotarians ask the question about race as we ask the questions around other dimensions as forward. I've been in Rotary for 11 years now, and race is still very, especially in the US, you know, it's very, very, very uncomfortable and it's very difficult for community leaders to talk about it, especially in Rotary. When I go to other countries, they say, oh, race is not a problem here. Ethnicity, we're all one country. And I would tell you, we talked about this last night as well, it's still very unfortunate. As I travel around the world, the darker skin you are, the still mistreatment that you have around the world. Now, so to your question, my perspective is that should we have a conversation about race in Rotary? I say yes. Are we ready for that conversation? I'll let you, we are the conversation starters. So I will let you all think about that. Thank you. I think it was a question here. Okay, well, we can, oh, he was waiting for a while. Then we'll go her and then you. We have about 10 more minutes, so we're good.
Awesome.
Hi, Dr. Jenkins.
What's up?
I'm good. My name's Mac. I'm a member of the Kitchener Westmount Club here in town. And my question, and I'm sure you've dealt with this, or at least it's been brought up to you before, is with regards to inclusivity, what are ideas that are being brought forward to do with people that are perhaps less privileged? Most Rotary clubs, including the one I belong to, do have a financial component. It's not the cheapest club to belong to in town. You could join the Kiwanis, or I don't know Kiwanis, you could join Lions or somebody else, and it might be a bit cheaper. We have a financial component. So what do we do? What are you seeing being done when there's a prospective member who you think, wow, that person would be a great member of our club, but I don't think they can afford it? have you seen any examples of where something's being done?
Oh yeah, of course. When I first joined my Rotary Club, Fayetteville, I was just starting to teach at the university, and I actually got introduced to Rotary by our chancellor at the university system, and I was getting ready to leave Fayetteville and go back to South Carolina because it was like, okay, I don't see myself in this community. I'm young, I can't really hang out. It's a college town, I can't hang out. So the chancellor introduced me to Rotary. I didn't know what Rotary was at all. Matter of fact, like I said, we was in a large club, 225 members. When we came in and the chancellor brought me to the club meeting, everyone stood up and started clapping when we walked in. And I was like, whoa, this is fancy, you know? And there was a lot of different business leaders. Some of our professors was there. I mean, they never talk about Rotary, but I saw a lot of them in the room. I'm like, I see you every day. You never talk about this little secret. But quickly to find out is that my claim to fame is not that the chancellor brought me to Rotary, but I brought the chancellor back to Rotary because he had not been in a meeting in 8 years. So he never really, he's a Rotarian, but he don't go to meetings. Here's my point, but he still pays, okay? So we talked about this as well last night. Sorry, we talked a lot last night. The financial component. So when I got on our board of the club, I started to learn about the dynamics of the financials. And I noticed that, yes, we have 225 members on roster, but only 90, which is still really good, 90 show up every week. 120 still pay for every meal every week on average. So I said to I know that's a larger club dynamic, but I get to where I'm gonna land here. I looked at that 30 or 25 individuals who continue to pay every week and see if I can backfill them with young professionals or individuals who may not able to afford, but they still can come. And so what I did was I shifted that and we created an under 35 rule. I was 23, but it was like 35 and 40s where we're trying to get more young people in. And they allowed me to create that, and I said, all right, how about because we still need people to put teeth in the game. How about we just reduce it 50% dues, 50% across the board. Any event, any annual dues, monthly, meals or whatever the case may be, and they pay it back in service. So we piloted that program. We received, first it was 4, then it climbed to 12, and now we're at 29. That's still in that. The other thing I would share with you with that rule is that we started to see is age is nothing but a number. Financial needs goes across the board. We have any individuals who had hardships who were retirees and they wanted to come to Rotary but couldn't afford it. So we open that up for anyone who has a financial need to be in that program. So my response to you is you got to look at your club structure. It is a way. Is look at your club structure and the finances and to see if you can sponsor in that way, or because of the flexibility of Rotary, hey, you don't have to always get together every week to buy a $25 meal. Go to somebody's house, go have a cookout, go have a barbecue, go to, rotate it like they did. Paul Harris didn't pay for everything. And look what he did. So we all are here. So I say be creative. And then also, the last but not least about finances is don't forget, Rotary may not be for everyone, okay? So many people try to force it, but it may not be. The other thing is, sometimes because of the meeting schedules, in Fayetteville, we started creating other clubs like the Rotary Club of Fayetteville High School, which was for teachers, because the teachers could never get out on Thursday during lunch to come to us. So we took the Rotary Club to them, and now they can do Rotary and they meet when they can meet on campus. We also created a Rotary Club at Walmart.
That's awesome.
Because in corporate, people couldn't get out to come out to the Bentonville meetings. So we took it to them and they meet in the home office. So I would tell you, my friends, be creative. And just because it have not been done before, that does not mean it can't be done. So I will leave that idea with you.
Thank you very much.
Wow.
We go get you, Punjabi brother. I see you.
Hi. My My name's Ann.
Hey, Ann.
My father was a Rotarian and my husband's a Rotarian. I'm the spouse. Anyway, when you're talking about the harassment, the adult harassment, you mentioned that there might be harassment of members to serve more or participate more, but can you give some other examples? Because I didn't really understand what else, like how would you harass?
Oh, yeah, sorry, so let me be a little more clear. The harassment reports that we have is not more about doing more service. It's not like, hey, Rudy, I need you to do more. I'm going to harass you to do service. That's not the reports we get. The reports we get is around discrimination and harassment around race and gender, and especially around individuals who are bringing perspectives around diversity initiatives. And Rotarians are saying, you're trying to separate our club. Get out of our club. This has no place here. You're trying to be political. You're trying to separate us more. Those are the type of harassment reports we get. And then we also get some harassment around, language, sexual abuse language, verbal abusive language, that, Rotarians say what they want to say and no one hold them accountable. So those are the type of alleged cases. Last but not least, I know you've been holding your hand up for a while.
Thank you for the opportunity. So, two things. Bowtie says hello from Pakistan.
Pakistan, okay.
Yeah. And secondly, I was wondering if you'd be kind enough to share your thoughts around Canadian multiculturalism versus the notion that the United States is a melting pot.
Okay, I didn't hear the last part. It cut out a little bit.
Sorry, the Canadian multiculturalism and the notion that the United States is a melting pot. So you touched on the fact that Rotary is not for everybody. Here in Canada, at least, we see a lot of organizations that are replicating functionality on the basis of ethnicity or religion, right? And so a lot of people in Canada would justify it under multiculturalism, and quite frankly, as a Rotarian who's been a member of Rotary for the last 17 years, I find it very challenging as a Canadian, Punjabi, Pakistani. How do you basically see it from an American perspective?
Yeah, so I work, because I'm a little biased because I do work with a lot of Canadian Fortune 500 companies that's, housed here. And then we also work with a lot of the parliament around Indigenous people, First People initiatives. I would say that Canadian is a home of immigrants. I think we all know that in this room. And a lot of people do start with, what country or region or your family is from. I mean, it's beautiful. As American, I can't speak for every American, but I would say my perception of Canada before I started doing work here was that it was just night and day. The separation was between Indigenous people and Canadians. That was the first target before I started, early in my career. Now, working with a lot of Canadian organizations, it's beyond just the Indigenous people. It is really that Canada, from my perspective, I hope I'm invited back when I say this next, has a problem that has not been addressed around the intersectionality of racism in this country. And what I mean from that is that we do see here in Canada as well the darker skin and the haves and have-nots. And that is not, the conversation is starting to hit the agenda more now. So when you think about multiculturalism, and I feel like it's something that we hide behind, to say, no, we are diverse in Canada. I hear this a lot. We're diverse in Canada. We don't have that issue here. And I'm pretty sure some people may believe that we don't have diversity issues here. This is not my home. So you all have to answer that question for yourself. But my perspective that it is an issue, but this issue is not unique to Canada. It's an issue across the world. Race is an issue across the world. Gender is an issue across the world. Disability is an issue. LGBTQ, gay population is an issue across the world. And it's built on systems, it's built on practices that you or I didn't create, but some of us still believe it. So I think the question is that I leave you all with, like I landed my talk, is what role will you play? What role will you play? And we all have a role to play in this journey. Inclusion is a journey, okay? Give yourself grace and space through it all. But as I wrap and drop my mic, Grandma says it best. When you know better, you
Do better. Oh my gosh.
Thank you all.